Absolutely.
Well done.
Well,
I'm excited about that.
Absolutely. And candidly, congratulations to me for bringing this up. I mean, I don't think that should go unnoticed either, quite frankly.
Well done.
Absolutely. Lord, I was born a rambling man, trying to make a living and doing the best I can as we start recording episode number 116 of the Promo UPFront Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Bill Petrie. With me, as always, the Admiral of Awards himself, the one and only Kirby Hasseman. Kirby, how the wedding are you?
I am doing great. As we referenced last week, my oldest daughter got married last weekend. My youngest daughter then 72 hours later moved to Colorado Springs. She's there now. So big changes in the Hasseman house, but the wedding was great. But like a lot of things like that, I think I did do well at living in the moment. But the next day I was so excited that was done so that I could sort of move on. I'm feeling lighter, certainly lighter in the wallet, but lighter in spirit.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah. So I'm doing well, buddy. How about you?
Great. It was a great video you put together for that. If you haven't had a chance to see Kirby's day in the life of his lovely daughter's wedding, spend about 7 minutes. It'll make you happy, put a smile on your face. And it was a beautiful thing to see Skylar and Keith get married. It was awesome. I'm doing great. Today is the first day of autumn as we record this, so I'm wearing my pineapple shirt because I'm celebrating the last day of summer, because yesterday it was 99 degrees here in Nashville, and today the high is like 72. And that's it. The weather here follows the calendar very strictly. It will not be warm again. I mean, it just works that way, which is kind of cool, you know?
Yeah, well, that's cool.
I bet you wish Ohio worked that way, but it got me to thinking, Kirby, as things often do. As the weather gets colder, so many distributors are thinking about merchandise that's really going to captivate the hearts and the minds of their clients as we approach the holiday season. Sorry, I lost my place there. I'm here to tell you there's one product line that's not only stood the test of time, Kirby, but it's also insanely creative while being cost effective. Kirby, I would love to present to you the Mighty Pencil by our good friends over at Shepenko. Now, that could be a classic yellow pencil. It could be a colored pencil. It could even be a completely custom pencil you design yourself. Pencils have always represented creativity, and I know you believe that as well.
Yeah, I sure do. And it's funny because I think it does show, from a distributor perspective, a place for you to step out and just recommend something a little bit different. And what I mean by that is, like, I think that a lot of people, and pens are great, right? I use pens, but it's funny to me when somebody hands me a pencil, whether it's a traditional pencil or a mechanical pencil, it's like, oh, that's totally different. And I find when things are handed to me that are different, they catch my attention, and it's a simple way to stand out, not only for you, but for your customers. So yeah, the pencil is a powerful tool.
Kirby, you're spot on. Shepenko has been in business since 1933, and they're still a fourth generation family owned and operated company that still sells exclusively into our industry to promotional products distributors. You don't stay in business that long without doing things the right way, which is doing what they say all the time, delivering quality merchandise at a fair price, going the extra mile always for their distributor partners, and truly caring about the success of their clients. Let's be honest, Kirby, these attributes don't just happen. They were written down, probably with a pencil, to become to help them become reality. And I do believe this. An idea doesn't really exist until you write it down, and pencil's the perfect vehicle to document and refine the next amazing idea you have for your client. So head over to shepenko.com right now. Pause the podcast or do it while you're listening. You can multitask, It's the only thing you can multitask on. But head over to shepenko.com to get started on your next project. Now, Kirby, I want to thank you for having the courage to podcast with me on this first day of autumn. I know it's a sad day for you because it means winter's coming. I'm sure you're in mourning on some level, but I thought we'd start off PPAI announced this week the recipients of their 2023 Icon Awards. I think it's always good to recognize the people who have contributed so much to our industry to make it what it is today.
Yeah.
So we have two members of the Hall of Fame. Carol Astad from Geiger. I don't know her. I wish I did. Read her little bio. Seems like an amazing lady. And Mary Ellen Sokolsky. She used to be at Bodick and Rhodes for many, many years and then opened up her own consulting agency called the Scarlet Marketeer. A lovely lady, still very active in the promotional products world and speaks from time to time at events. So those two Hall of Famers.
Impressive. Well, both of them impressive resumes. As I was reading through that, that's really cool.
100%. The Distinguished Service Award goes to someone who's spent a lot of time giving back to the promotional products industry, and that went to our good friend, I believe he's the promise maker over at Social Good Promotions, our good friend Roger Burnett. And can't think of a better person to kind of personify what distinguished service means than Roger Burnett. He's been president of his regional association, MIPA. He's been president of the BRAC board a couple times, certainly active in other areas, Promo Kitchen and things like that. So really big congratulations to Roger on that.
Oh man. And it is funny because I think that he believes so deeply in giving back that he's built a business around it with Social Good Promotions. So when I saw that, it brought joy to my heart. Both this and the next one. Obviously, both of them are good friends of ours. So
absolutely. And then the one Kirby just alluded to, the Ted Olson Humanitarian Award. I don't think there's anybody who personifies what that award's about better than our good friend Danny Rosen, the co-president over at Brand Fuel. The guy, if you don't know Danny, you probably know of him, but he's got a motor that runs, and it runs on one fuel only, and that's giving back. That's what his motor is fueled by. And whether it's business, whether it's in his personal life, he has the biggest heart of anyone I know. And I could actually get a little teary-eyed talking about Danny because he is a very close friend of both of ours.
Right.
He embodies what being a humanitarian is in terms of caring for his fellow person. Again, whether it's in business or personal life, he truly cares about other people. And I'm so over the moon for everybody on this list. Certainly, I'm a little biased for Danny and Roger just because we're good friends with them. We served on Promo Kitchen together, all four of us. So kudos to Danny and Roger and Mary Ellen and Carol.
Yeah, for sure. Congratulations to all those, and congratulations and kudos to the industry for recognizing this. Like, I think in this is one of those things where it's really easy to recognize those sexy awards that are, top sales, and there's, big influencers, and there's this and there's that. But the idea of recognizing a list of people who make it their life's mission to make the world and the industry a better place.
Absolutely.
Well done. Well, I'm excited about that.
Absolutely. And candidly, congratulations to me for bringing this up. I mean, I don't think that should go unnoticed either, quite frankly.
Well done.
Absolutely. I mean, again, you talk about having the courage to podcast. I mean, that took a lot of courage there. But let's move on, because I gotta amp things up, Kirby. I gotta do it. Hey, distributors, you need to ask yourselves as you enter fall seriously, is your marketing working? You might think it's working. You might not, but you really should take a look at your marketing and ask yourself if it's working. And if it's not, you need to head over to promopulse.io/amp and check out their AMP marketing services. Turnkey approach. You set it, you forget it, and create it in 5 minutes. You get it all done in 5 minutes, and it will really drive sales. So head over to promopulse.io/amp. You're not going to be sorry you did. Kirby, topic us up.
Okay. So as you know, and if you are in the industry, but events have started to come back. And this past week, SKU Camp, happened. And it's the first time, I know you've been to SKU Camp several times. It's an event put on by Common SKU that really it's I think for leaders in the industry that try to help them not only plan for the end of the year, but start planning to build their business intentionally for the next year. It's an event that I've enjoyed a ton of times. And this year I had to miss it. because of the wedding, as you mentioned. It was just one of those where I'd signed up, I was going to go, and then Mark and Catherine were gracious enough to let me out of it, because I was like, I just can't be in two places at once. But I will tell you, I don't often have, like, people talk about industry FOMO. I don't often get it, because I'm like, I've either made the decision to go or not go, and I'm comfortable with it. This was one I really struggled with. But it got me thinking, because I know things get you thinking all the time. I clearly don't think very much. But
don't sell yourself short.
But I guess the first question is, did you have FOMO for SKU Camp, or were you kind of like, dude, I didn't have the bandwidth? Or, and then B, I guess the second part of the question is, it feels like those events are starting to stack up. We talked about Brand Together last week. We've got Promotions East coming up. We've got Expo has now been announced that it's open. Will you
and don't forget about Promocations and Promo Cruise?
That's right, of course, Promocations. Like I thought that went without saying.
It
but
did.
Will you be looking to travel more soon? I mean, now again, we've had this weird little gap for a couple years. Are you looking to travel more soon, or do you think, you know what? No, I'm going to be doing more virtual, or is the answer both?
So here's the deal. One, I didn't have a lot of FOMO. I did and I didn't. There are parts of it I did have FOMO on for not going to SKU Camp. But first of all, you with Dave Schultz and a few other people did a great job on the hype video for No Sleep in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Very funny stuff there. Really great stuff. I always miss any SKU event I miss. I've been to almost every SKU Camp and almost every SKU Con. So I feel I've been part of that.
Yeah.
But again, the falls get very busy with me, the autumns, because 2 kids, different schools, a lot of travel. And like you said, things are ramping up. And so it gets to a point you have to start picking and choosing. So to answer your question, do I plan on traveling more? Yeah, I do. I mean, if you're talking about compared to 2020, yes, I plan on traveling more. But I think, people are going to start being very choosy about the events they go to. I mean, there's only so much time and so much money to go around. And so I think, all events have to continually, I don't want to say reinvent themselves. That sounds like it needs to be wholesale changes, but I think it needs to evolve. And I think you need to look at who your audience is, what they're trying to accomplish, not necessarily what historically you've been trying to accomplish, and make sure that it really fits in to that demographic. I'm going to travel more. You and I will be at Promotions East.
Yeah.
It's honestly terrible timing for me. I mean, I'm happy to go. I'm honored to go. I'm speaking, you're speaking, or we're going to record this Ding Dong podcast live there. But I do a boondoggle weekend with my college friends every year, and they're coming to Nashville this year. They're staying at my house, for crying out loud. So when they go to the airport on Monday after that weekend, I'm going to the airport with them, not to take them. I'm dropping off my car and I'm getting on a plane to go to Atlantic City.
Right.
And then I come home on Wednesday. On Friday, I'm leaving to go to Tuscaloosa for the weekend. So, it's wedging things in. And so there's so many different things when you try to balance personal and professional. You're going to have to be choosy to make sure what you're going to is going to further your business goals. I think SKU Camp's a great example of that. I think there are other Promotions East is a great example of that. I certainly think the really smart guys over at Promocations are rocking it with the Promo Cruise and some Promo Q and all that stuff. So I think you just have to pick and choose. So yes, I'll travel more, but I think people are going to be more picky.
Yeah, I think they'll be more picky, because it was funny when 2020 happened, there were things that we did, just whether it be in business or in, like in our community, for example, we did things where it was like, the seniors that year did like a little parade through town, where they like literally started at the school and drove around. And as they were driving by our business, and because we were socially distanced and whatever, but beeping and whatever, I remember looking at my wife and like, I don't care about the pandemic. We should do this every year. This is cool. And I think that we certainly saw some things like that through the pandemic. And I think some of the virtual stuff is like that. And when I'm not necessarily virtual events, bear with me on this, but like there was business travel that was done where you were like, oh, I'm traveling to Dallas to meet with a client. Now, sometimes you'll still do that, but I have to think there's going to be times where you're like, you know what? No, we're going to do this over Zoom and it will be fine.
Correct.
And so that's sort of the balance I see is like, there's going to be, I'll be able to do more because I can do some things virtually.
I think most virtual events will die. I do.
Yeah.
Not client meetings, not things like what Soapbox is doing. I see that having a lot of legs.
Yeah.
But I think the bigger events, like unless the only time I think a virtual event works is if it's simulcast at a reduced rate. Okay.
Yeah,
hybrid events, fine.
Yeah.
I think client calls, again, sometimes, sometimes you ask yourself, can this meeting be handled in an email? Might be.
Yeah.
Sometimes, can this meeting be handled virtually, or do I really need to go build some relationships? Because one of the things that's really challenging with virtual meetings and virtual, whether client meetings or whatever, very difficult to establish rapport and relationships, because I know how I treat those meetings. I'm not as attentive. Not when I'm on with the client, of course I'm attentive, but I'm talking about speaker meetings, right? I email comes in, I'm going to deal with that because I don't want to deal with it later. If I'm in the event, though, I'm in the event.
Right. No. Okay, cool. All right. Well, I don't know about you, but I started looking at the my travel for the fall, and I was like, oh man, I've actually got more. And but I will say I don't have quite the, I don't have my friends coming over right before, and so I have looked at it with a renewed sense of excitement that I probably didn't have in 2019. Like I'm looking at it now, going, hey, all right, Atlantic City, haven't been there in a while. Let's do this.
Yeah, right now, just because, again, the phase of life I'm in, I see a lot of fun going to happen. I mean, I always have fun with all these travel things, but it's a little bit of a death march. It's like, it's a grind. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to getting past it. So one thing I'm looking forward to, Kirby, is I saw this on ASI, the Advertising Specialty Institute. Really cool thing they had on some really inspired and collaborative promo. And we spent a lot of time talking about Promotional Products Professional Association, and there was a really great beatdown this week, by the way. Some distributor went off the reservations and people just hammered him, and it was warranted. We don't even need to discuss any more than that.
Okay.
But ASI, we don't talk about the positive stuff in promo enough, so I want to bring this up. So a company in Miami, Florida, High Techs Marketing Group, did a branded backpack, and their task was for 10,000 Amazon employees, in Central America, Latin America. So it was a gift for them. They needed to respect the brand guidelines, but had a pretty modest budget. They collaborated internally with their group. They collaborated extensively with Amazon, making sure of their brand standards and all that. And they made this really completely kick-ass backpack that looks exactly like an Amazon box with straps.
Really?
So they found the special fabric to mimic this cardboard look. Amazon box tape. I'm probably going to put it on the cover of the podcast just because I love it so much. Custom zipper pulls, and this is what I love: a QR code leading employees to the human resources website for Amazon. And I thought, how many of us really don't put that much thought, as much effort and collaboration and thought into it? Now, they did this first in 2019, and since then, I mean, it was received so well. And again, they had a very limited budget. It had to be like $13. Okay. They have gotten so much more business out of that because they burn the calories on the front end. And I don't know what the takeaway from this. I don't have some big giant question or anything. I just think it's a great reminder to, in a busy world, when we're running from one task to the next, I've got a million emails to send. I've got to plan travel. I've got to do this. I've got an end user show. When you sit down and really clear your mind and focus on a client issue, and you can get really creative in our industry. And I think people forget that sometimes. And so I love seeing projects like this. I know you love working on projects like that too.
It's funny. I love that you are so kind to me when you say that, I love working on projects like this. I do when I allow myself, because I think I'll be the first to admit that there are times where I'm like, okay, I just need to find a $13 backpack.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and I've certainly done that. Now, sometimes that's because they need it by a certain date, and
or it's client directed. They want this backpack. Yeah.
Right. But I will say that when I hear about other distributors doing this, And thank you for calling it out, by the way, because I do believe this is one of those rising tide lifts all boats moments.
Absolutely.
Like, we need to be inspired to try and do better, because when we do better, the whole industry does better. We all are represented, not only just our client and their end users. That's really well done. And I love it when I hear stories like this, because I'm like, oh, I've got this project coming up. How can I be more creative? And I think that seeing people, creativity begets creativity. And so that's cool.
Iron sharpens iron. And I'm a big believer. We move in such a fast-paced society. If we take the time to slow down and think, okay, sounds like a very restrictive budget.
Yeah.
But you got to come up with something that people are going to love, right? I can think of a lot of $13 backpacks that are pieces of crap in our industry.
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh, great. Oh, thank you. And it'd go in a pile somewhere, brand fill, right? This is not. And so taking the time, slowing down, think, okay, how could we creatively and collaboratively solve this problem? Because it wasn't just High Tech's marketing group. They really collaborated with the group internally at Amazon to get brand guide and get the exact logos for the tape. I mean, this thing is so cool. It's just awesome. All right. So I've fawned over that enough. Do you have another topic, or are we going into gambling for good?
Let's do one really quick, because I really do think this can be quick.
Away.
Is just because so we got, both of us got messages from folks who listen to the podcast, and I appreciate that, and I wanted to kind of shout it out. So Ellie Bath sent us because we've talked about collaboration. So we've also talked off air that we don't want to necessarily become the podcast of record. Talking about collaborations, but some of them are really cool. So 7-Eleven is doing a collaboration with Crocs to do a footwear vibe that I think makes sense. So cool. Javi Melendez sent something. I think this is cool. Texas Roadhouse is doing candles for the cinnamon butter inspired. It's a butter inspired candles. And I can tell you that both my daughters will love that. Just quick. Thank you to folks sending us topic ideas. That's really helpful as we do this every week. And I will say that candles seems to be the go-to for scents. And that makes sense to me. Sorry. Pun unintended.
Sense makes sense.
Yeah, unintended. But I do think that when we talk about, that sense of smell, we think of candles. And I think there are other opportunities out there. I saw this and I thought, oh man, they're missing an opportunity to do a point of purchase or a promotions piece that is lip balm based. Because I will tell you, if you go to Texas Roadhouse, that cinnamon butter is pretty amazing. And so for me, back to the last topic where you're saying our iron sharpens iron. When I see this, I'm like, okay, how could you take that to the next level? And I start thinking of other products that might make sense.
Absolutely. Well, and like I said, I think lip balm's a great one. I mean, you could do, like 7-Eleven could do a lip balm of the flavor of the rolling hot dogs as it heats up. Could be great. Oh, that'd be terrible.
That'd be weird.
Be awful.
But other stuff, right?
Absolutely. Like, the something with Slurpee or something that's just so identified with and things like that. So no, I think the collaborations are really good. And it does, again, when it comes to candles, when it comes to the sense of smell, it does seem to head right to candles. But I think there's other ways to do it. I loved what Miller Lite did by creating beer infused charcoal. That was kind of cool. And that's a scent as well. So
cool.
But you know what makes sense, Kirby? It makes sense for you to talk about our gambling for good. It's your week to run this. I had a rough week last week, Kirby. I went 3-3. Kirby knocked it out of the park while he's distracted. In the matter of 48 hours, he marries one daughter and moves another one to Colorado and goes 5-1.
Well, I don't know I think I mentioned this last week on the podcast, is I did not have the bandwidth to really give this a lot of thought. So I went straight to Vegas. I was like, who does Vegas favor? They know this better than I do. So I went with them on it. So credit to Vegas on this. But I am really excited because I have taken the lead now. So you were kind of beating me, and I've taken the lead now. It's still really close. So 11-10. We are clearly not professional gamblers. But great news. We brought a professional gambler in. You had said we could have some guest picks. So Josh Robbins is joining us. Yes?
Correct. Josh Robbins from Vault Promotions is joining us today, and he is donating $100 to PPEF. And he has a challenge that he's throwing out that he would like to go against another person next week.
Of course.
So we're going to have 4 people picking games now. Pretty soon this is going to be the NFL Today. But on a $100 challenge for a donation to PPEF. So no, you have Josh's picks, and you can share those as we go.
Okay.
And let's see how we do. I'm ready for a rebound week.
Okay.
I'm ready for it.
Okay. All right. So you, again, by the way, I always try to give credit where credit is due because you expend way more calories on this than I do. So he literally sends me the games that I get to read off. So Bill has done all the homework on this. I appreciate it. So I'm excited about this first game. We start with the 3 college games, then we go to NFL. So the first college game is going to be number 20, Florida at number 11, Tennessee. Who you got?
Ooh. Boy, the Gators really hate the Volunteers, but I think you go with I got to go with Tennessee here.
All right, I go with Tennessee as well, and our guest picker, who I find myself agreeing with on a lot of his picks, by the way, he goes with Tennessee as well. So next up, we've got number 5 Clemson at number 21 Wake Forest. Wake Forest in the top 25. I think this one's interesting, and it's at Wake Forest.
The Tigers hate the Demon Deacons. I think let's go with Clemson on that one. Kirby.
Yeah, we are across the board on that. Josh went with Clemson. I'm going with Clemson. I know Wake Forest is in the top 25, but show me against Clemson. I'm all in on Clemson. Okay, this is going to be a separator, I think, game for us. So we've got number 10 Arkansas versus number 23 Texas A&M at a neutral site, if I believe.
Correct. They play in Jerry's Death Star in Arlington, Texas. So. And man, the Hogs hate the Aggies. I'm gonna have to go. I'm going with my heart here. I'm going with the Texas A&M Army Aggies. Get 'em! Woo!
All right. Well, Josh agrees with you. So Josh takes Texas A&M, and I don't know anything about Arkansas except that I do know they are not Texas A&M. So Arkansas for me. So we're going with that. All right. So let's move on to the NFL. I think this is going to be a great game. I'm excited to see this one. We're about to learn some things. Buffalo is going to be at Miami. For those who don't follow, Miami had a ridiculous comeback last week where they were getting thumped most of the game. Buffalo has been sort of the media darling. So Buffalo at Miami, who you got?
Man, the Bills hate the Dolphins, so it's a really tough one to call. I'm going to go with the Bills on this one. Can't go against Josh Allen, even though Tua Tagovailoa went nuts last week. I don't think he can do it 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, Josh agrees with you, and I'm gonna have to see it against a really a team like Buffalo. But I will say it depends on which Josh Allen shows up. If it's Josh Allen, we've seen a lot. He does throw up some stinkers occasionally, so I'm going with Buffalo as well. All right, Cincinnati at the Jets. This is a tough one for me.
Yeah, it is a tough one, especially when you factor in the fact that the Bengals hate the Jets. So these two teams hate each other.
I don't think they care about each other at all.
Cincinnati has put up some stinky dues. And so I am going with Jets. Jets. Joe Flacco.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet on Joe
the Hall of very mediocre. Joe Flacco.
Okay, so Josh is picking Cincinnati to sort of turn it around. They're an 0-2 team, but it's really a question of whether the Jets jump in and kind of use what they did against the Browns last week. And I'm saying, screw that. I'm taking Cincy as well.
Okay.
All right. So
last one.
Los Angeles at Arizona. To me, this is actually the toughest game I'm picking this week. I still don't. I don't have one written down. Yeah.
It's the Rams, not the Chargers. Just to be clear.
The Rams versus the Cardinals. Cardinals. It's at Arizona.
Ooh, man. And I don't think there's two teams in the NFL that hate each other more than the Rams and the Cardinals. So this is a really tough one to call. I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Rams on this one. Again, Kyler Murray and the Cardinals dug one out last week. I don't see that happening again. I don't think they're very good. So I'm going to go with the Rams on that one.
Yeah, I apologize. So we've got Josh going with Los Angeles, Rams, and I'm going to go with the Rams as well. I just can't buy, and I apologize. I want to take some things that are a little different from you, but I'm going to have to see it again because They got crushed so bad that first week that I'm still struggling to not see it. So,
Well, and just to be transparency, I make my picks before I got Josh's, and I didn't change a single one. And then I send you pretty much a blind thing, so you don't know what I'm picking. You do see what Josh is picking because you're running it next week. You won't see who anybody picks.
Yeah, but just as a reminder, we are doing this just for fun, and we are whoever loses is going to donate $100 to PPEF. You want to talk a little bit about what PPEF is, really quick?
I do. The Promotional Products Education Foundation, great group of people. They gave away, I think, over $250,000 in scholarships last year to deserving college students, and they've also expanded that to trade schools, and things like that, which I'm a huge fan of. But just do some great work. I've been a long advocate of theirs. I know you have as well. And so anytime we can do two things: one, bring the awareness to PPEF, which I believe their website is ppef.us. I think it's .us. And raise a little money for them and have a little fun. Why not? Why not?
Well done.
And you know what else I say? Why not, Kirby? Why not? When you're thinking of something super creative, something cost effective, something that you can completely customize if you want.
Yeah.
When you're looking for that for your clients. Fake laughter. Hey, think about Shepenko, folks, because no joking, great family-owned company, great people there. They're very invested in your success, and they have some of the coolest pencils you're going to see in the history of our industry. They've been around since 1933, I believe, and they still sell only to distributors in our industry. So if you're looking for just regular pencils, if you're looking for something special to mark an occasion, you're looking for a cost-effective giveaway to promote a company launch, you're looking for anything in that era that kind of symbolizes the manifestation of ideas becoming reality, think about the pencil. It's a mighty, mighty promotional product, and you can't go anywhere else to get a great pencil than our good pals at Shepenko. Shepenko.com. You're not going to be sorry you did. Kirby, I want to thank you for having the courage to podcast with me today, and I look forward to not wearing this pineapple shirt again.
See you, man.